Hello everyone. Now we are going to start second chapter, functions. What is a function? A function is a group of statements which perform a specific task. A function is within a program. Means when a program is too long, its code is of multiple lines, then we can break that program, a long program, into a different small modules which we call functions. And this approach is called stepwise refinement method or the modular approach. Why we are doing this? Because if there is some error in my program, then there is no need to go through the entire large program. We can simply divide the program into the functions so that the reusability of the code, then error finding of the code will become easier. So functions are of three types: built-in functions, modules, user-defined functions. Built-in functions, by the name we can understand that they are the predefined functions, means which are already in the Python. There is no need to create those functions because they are already available in the standard library. For example, let me start learning about those functions. First one is type conversion functions. Type conversion function means where you convert a data type of one variable to another variable. For example, the first one is int. This function simply converts a numerical value into the integer. Means if it is a float, it returns you the integer. But if you pass the argument as a string, it will return error. Second function, float, it simply converts your integers into the float. If you pass the argument 5, it will return 5.0, means floating point numbers. If you pass the argument in the string, it will not return an error. So the difference between int and float: int converts the argument into integer data type, float converts the argument into floating point. If you pass string in int function, it returns an error, while if you pass the string in float, it will not return an error. STR function, again by the name we can understand that this function simply converts arguments or the parameter which you are passing into a string. Example, a equals to str5 means 5, that is a number, is converted into string and stored in a variable a. b is equals to str4, again 4 is a number, str function convert that number into a string and store in a variable b. Now we are printing at a plus b. A plus b will not return 9 because 5 and 4 are no more numbers. They are strings, so that's why they convert their strings, so that's why they will give the output as 54 because the plus symbol will concatenate or join the strings. Input functions, there is no more thing to tell about you because we tell about this function input, because this function you've already learned so many times, we used so many times in class 11, which simply enable the user to take the input. This function enables us to accept string from the user. Eval is also we used so many times in class 11. This function takes string as an argument and returns the numeric result. Min function will return the minimum value out of given value, out of many values. For example, if we do this like print min we execute this, it will return 1, which is the minimum value out of many values. Instead of min, if we use max, so again by the name we can understand it returns the maximum value, that is 4. So next is ABS, it stands for absolute. It returns the absolute value of a number. Absolute value means positive value. If you pass any negative number here, the output will be a positive number. For example, we pass argument say -4, it simply returns the absolute value of -4, that is 4. If we pass this as a say -3, it will give 3. If we pass argument as 3.7, it will return a positive number, that is 3.7 instead of -3.7. Type. This function tells the data type of a variable. For example, if we give here say a equals to 9, print type, and if we give type a, it will simply give the data type of type variable a. If you know that it is an integer, so it will return class int. Yeah, it will return class int. If you make it as 9.5, now it will return class float, because now it is a floating point number. And if you put a quotes over here, it will turn into a string. It will return class STR. So now I think we can understand that what to return. Length, by the name we can understand, it simply returns the length of the string. Length of the string. For example, if in a string I'll write Amit, and we need to find the length of the string, I'll simply type print len of a. So the expected output is 4, because Amit has 4 characters. So to return, the output will come as 4. So length function simply returns the length of the string. Means if it is the string is school, then we return the number of characters as output as 6. Now the next is round. This function simply rounds the floating point number to a specified number of digits. For example, here are some examples we have written. Round 12.452 if not specified the number of digits in decimal places, it simply returns 12. If we give 12.452, 0, it will return 12.0. That means now it will return the floating point number. Earlier it returns 12. Around 12.452, 1. That means we want to round off in 1 decimal place. Next example, 12.452, 2. We want to round off till 2 decimal places. Now the last two example, if you can see, it is -1 minus. What does it mean? It simply means -1 means it simply turns to the multiple of 10. Lower side of multiple of 10 means the last digit before decimal returns 0. -2 means it turns to the multiple of 100, means last 2 digit before decimal turns to 0. Range. This function we have used so many times in class 11 by using the loop. We know that range function simply generates a number from 0 to n-1. For example, here range 5. Range 5 will simply generate an integers from 0 to 4. That means the number generated by this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5. 5 is excluded in this. So these are the inbuilt functions. I think it's clear to you. You just practice this with different inputs, give pass different parameters, and try to practice these functions. Thank you.